Welcome to This Podcast is Making Me Thirsty, the number one destination for Seinfeld fans. This is Two Up and Two Down. Here's our producer, Chris, to start us off.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining us again for another episode of Two Up and Two Down. And Tony, today we're going to discuss The Doll. So start us off with your first up.
Season 7, The Doll. We got to give two ups and we got to give two downs. My first up for The Doll, and this is what we do. It's not season 8, 9, but it's still a later season, if you will, season 7. I'm, you know, I do love Frank when when we find out he wasn't born in this country, and he gives the old. That's why I can never be president. I refuse to vote. They don't want me. I don't want them. Great Frank line. It's the essence of Frank there. Very bitter, very spiteful. The whole thing with the feet. Further down the line, we get there with that. He takes the bread back and the rye. What he goes after. He goes to move to Florida just because Morty says he shouldn't. I mean, you don't want to wrong Frank. If you get on Frank's bad side, you try and spite him. He goes right back. You don't want me. I don't want. They don't want me. I don't want them. I'm not voting. I can't be president. I always love that line. I definitely have used it in the past for other things. So I know it's just one line, but it is a Frank line, and it definitely, in this episode, I don't have a lot of big ups. That's one that'll always stick with me, and this is why we do this, folks. Everyone that says you guys don't like the later seasons, no, there are things we like, and that's something I like. Great line by Frank. That's my up.
All right, yeah, thanks, Tony. We're always going to find something to like in all these episodes. So, yeah, thank you. Chris, over to you. What's your second up? I'm sorry, your first up.
And just to piggyback on that, I would take that whole scene, Tony. I mean, George with him, and then Elaine coming by, and she goes, George clearly wants her to say, "Oh no, I got a thing. The thing's canceled." Like, come on, sit down. Funny stuff, and then Frank just takes it to another level. Of course, good stuff there. First up for me, it's the scene. I don't know why I like the scene. It's when Kramer, when Jerry opens the box and the barbecue sauce is all broken and everything. Kramer's sitting there like salvaging it, like wiping it out to his sandwich, whatever he's doing over there. Just Kramer being Kramer, and then believe it's that same scene, him doing that bit. Have you ever done a bit on styrofoam? Like, I don't know. I know he's done that before, whether he's pitching the show. He always has an idea. And then that face he makes, I'll never forget it. It's all attitude, and Kramer has that face. So that scene, the face with the barbecue sauce, talking about styrofoam, first up for The Doll.
All right, yeah, go. I was just laughing at that as you mentioned that scene. So thanks, Chris. Tony, back to you. What's your second up?
Yeah, salvaging the sauce. Perfect Kramer line. My second up, and you know what? I'm gonna go with maybe the lesser one of the two I have written down here. Interesting. Again, by lesser, I just mean another small thing, but something I use quite often. And I think it's a good Seinfeld joke, if you will. The old Pavarotti, Domingo, the other guy. I love that line. And then when Elaine meets him, she's like, "It's you." No one knows this guy's name. We never even find out. I still don't know his name to this day. It's Pavarotti, Domingo, the other guy. I think that's a great. It's a kind of a smart joke, because Larry David is a big classical guy. Even in Curb, used a lot of classical music, throughout Seinfeld, if you will, the Master of the House and the opera and Schumann and the whole thing. Here's another example of it. Yo-Yo Ma, definitely, it's weaved in and out of Seinfeld often, and I like this one because it, as cultured as they are with the whole, we know classical music and the opera, we don't know this other guy's name. He's just the other guy. I always thought that was funny. So that's my second up: Pavarotti, Domingo, and the other guy.
Even back in the day, it felt the same sentimentality that, yes, like nobody knows the third guy. So yeah, that's a great mention. So Chris, over to you. What's your second up?
That's a great one. And Elaine brought that to life, which was great. But let me see here. You know what? I'm going to go Frank and Kramer, especially when they went to go see the Maestro. I don't know. It's got that like Sid Farkas feel. I love when those two team up, uh, and then obviously they they invite the Maestro over. The whole scene with the small cue, the whole thing. Uh, Frank and Kramer in these later years always have good chemistry. Um, they just always get along. Well, we always say this: Kramer gets along with everybody. That's kind of the deal. But um, love when they went like they just tag team together. Like they could have went about it another way, but these guys are old school, man. They went and saw the Maestro, just like they went and saw Sid Farkas. Like this is what that generation did, and I'm looping Kramer a little bit into that older generation here. So for me, Frank and the K Man on this episode were wonderful. Second up.
Yeah, I love that pool room scene that they had there in Frank's house. So yeah, another good mention there. All right, so now we're gonna go over to the downs. Tony, what do you have for your first down?
Yeah, I didn't give the pool scene one. I went with the Pavarotti, but definitely everyone loves that pool scene. It is solid. Walking in, you throw back to kind of the Manzier bro stuff with the two of them in their underwear. Listen, again, I'm changing my grades as we're talking because this episode it's got some life to it. We just brought up some good ups, but there are some downs too, of course. And the big elephant in the room on the downs here, and why this episode isn't going to be a top one for me is really the George stuff and the doll. I mean, when George is yelling at the doll in Monks, it's just too much. I mean, I know Larry David's still there, and I know it's a season 7, but it's a little too much for me. The mom's voice, he's screaming at a doll sitting there in Monks. To me, that's a little bit overboard. We're not going to get to what is she doing with the dolls, but fine. She's got dolls. We know she has money. Maybe they're expensive doll collection. They're very weird dolls, though. They're not like stuffed animal dolls. They're like, I don't know. They don't seem like dolls you'd want to sleep with or whatever. Like they're not cuddly, if you will, whatever that means. I just don't love it. The whole doll stuff, and particularly, it kind of ruins George in this episode for me. There's way too much yelling and arguing with his mom, looking like a doll. That's my first down.
Thanks, Tony. So Chris, what do you have for your first down?
It's crazy. I can relate to this doll thing. My wife's grandmother, big doll collection, was in business with the Marie Osmond, Donnie Marie. They went to shows together, doll shows. But yeah, I don't think either way you're not cuddling with them. A good point. And I had that. First off, why was he propping up the doll? Put it in a bag. Come on, silly. Um, Elaine, take the damn toothbrush out of the box. Why are you carrying the box? Okay, that's a big issue. I know you're gonna tell me physical comedy. But this isn't Kramer carrying an air conditioner. You know what I mean? You're not gonna take the air conditioner. This is the Oradent, small little toothbrush. Take it out of the box. A couple wasted scenes of her walking down the street with the box. And I get it. It led to her hitting the wine, fell over the Maestro, blah, blah, blah. Didn't like it then, don't like it now. The Elaine or Dent box stuff, first down.
Yeah, I agree with that one. So Tony, back to you. What do you have for your second down?
My second down is an interesting one because O'Hara sort of gave this an up. I gave that up of what I gave with Frank, and he's like, the whole scene is great, but the thing's canceled. I feel like this is right up your alley for a down because what the heck is Elaine doing there? She just walks into Monks, and then George sees her. So then she's like, "Oh, then I'll sit with you." But like, she was going to Monks by herself, and just one of those forced things that you always kind of bring up is, to get her to say the guy in Tuscany. But like, I don't know, they could have done it any other way except that way. I didn't. I just thought it seemed forced to me, and it seemed like more season 8, 9 stuff. I did like the line that things cancelable, but still, I never understood what she was doing there in the first place, which kind of set a tone for me where I'm like, I don't know, I was off track on that one a little bit because you don't just see Elaine walk. Sometimes Kramer will walk in, maybe he's meeting Newman there, something like that, but Elaine just walking into Monks by herself and George happened to be there. That threw me off. I know it's a weird down, but I had to bring it up because yeah, I don't think that's a down for me.
Thanks, Tony. And so, Chris, give us your second down, please.
Jeez, he sounds like me this episode. This is unbelievable. She was going amok. She was right. She might have been picking up a bagel. She's been there alone before. She's met a few of her friends there before. What's her name? That who dated the friend of the show, Noreen. This is not uncommon, but all right, I feel you. It rubbed you the wrong way, and I think it's setting the tone for what we're going to hear from him. So here we go. Listen, for me, an easy down. I'll just take it. Sally Weaver. Again, I don't think it wasn't as bad as the future Sally Weaver we get, but it was enough to, you know. And again, we're just not Sally Weaver people. Be it as it may. I was upset at her for not getting the Charles Grodin, specifically what Jerry asked for. I mean, do the right thing there. So for me, I'll take Sally Weaver as my first down.
Yeah, that was your second. So yeah, thanks, Chris. Yeah, not a big fan here when she screwed up all of Jerry's order there and getting the wrong barbecue sauce. So Tony, back to you. Let's wrap this one up with the doll. What do you got for your thoughts and final grade here?
Yeah, I was gonna give Sally Weaver, but I wanted to go with the other one just to get O'Hara's reaction. And also, I I will say this: I agree, not nearly as bad as the second Sally Weaver. And here's what I will say about the Sally Weaver that is kind of a positive is when Jerry gets upset, he's kind of funny, and she just got him upset so many times that Jerry just couldn't take it anymore. Like that was supposed to be she just kept ruining him every time, and he had no material. Um, Listen, I've wrote down a bunch of grades here. I'm all over the place. I was hoping I didn't have to go first with the grade. This one I'm not going to be able to get swayed by O'Hara's grade, so I'm going out my own here. Um, but he has talked me up in this episode as we're talking. But I still here. I'm a sucker for the parents, but I don't think the parents they don't save this one. I mean, they go back to that pool a couple of times with the pool room, with Estelle and everything. I think the doll stuff with Estelle, I don't love. At the end, obviously, you get the payoff with Frank ripping the head off again. I get where they're going with that. You saw that coming from a mile away. I just didn't love that either. I did like Jerry getting upset, like I said. Salvaging the sauce is great. Gotta love Maestro, front of the show. Policeman's Beloved and Ball Association Orchestra. Listen, I got a lot written down here, but I got to go with my gut. I'm going a little higher than my original grade as we're talking it through, but I can't go too high. I'm going to give the doll a C minus. C minus for the doll. Maybe that is too high from O'Hara's reaction. I mean, I wrote down a bunch of other ones. I thought he was going higher. He talked me up a little bit here. Yeah, I'm already there. I said it. C minus for the doll.
Yeah, just give it the grade that you want to give it, Tony. Don't worry about Chris over there. So we'll get to him. So thanks, Tony. What do you got for your final thoughts here, Chris?
I love going second. Hey, Big Cat fans, you are gonna love me today. I don't know what it is. I'm in a good mood. I don't know what's going on. But watching this episode, I think the parents were great. I mean, come on, Estelle walking in with 3 Budweisers and a popcorn. Enough said. I mean, put me in that room, okay? Nothing better than that.
Who am I listening to right here?
Kissing the maestro, the pants coming off was a solid bit. The other guy wiping his thing. Charles Grodin. You mentioned Lane. You're tough on Elaine here, but she did a great job with the other guy. I didn't like the Ordinance stuff. Wasn't needed. You made some great points. How Jerry was needled. I even kind of liked George was kind of needling him as well. Like, oh yeah, Susan said you'd like her, and Jerry's like, what? Like, I kind of like that little stuff. Which I hate when maybe I just don't like George and Susan together. Clearly, that's the case. But like, oh, let's get coffee. Like it was kind of similar to that, but it annoyed Jerry. To your point, so pretty good stuff. Solid. Pool table stuff. Pink Hat fans love. The doll stuff didn't bother me the way it did you, and if that's the case, yeah, then you're gonna go C minus and below. But I gotta figure a doll guy like me, the B minus baby for the doll. I had two grades, and they're both in the B's. But we're gonna stick with the B minus. I think it's a fair grade. Gamble and Pros, love to have them on the program, obviously. Uh, Listen, it's a fun episode, and I think a B minus is a fair grade.
I think you're right, Chris. It is a fun episode, and let's give Jose Carreras some love. He's the other guy in the three tenors. So thank you guys for your analyst here and analysis. I'm sorry, and we'll see everybody on the next one.